Cloninger moves on in, and he scores! He's gonna learn today.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pod Street Bullies. My name is Derek.
And I am John. What's going on, everybody?
Folks, we have another one of those episodes. This is our second ever episode where we're literally just fielding questions. First episode
the first
was...
one, bit of a blur.
Just a little bit. A little bit of a blur. But
when Derek came to visit me, and we were hammered.
Yeah, Debbie may have done Dallas, but I did New York, and it was a blast. But so there, I mean, when you look at it, you figure there's really nothing to talk about. I mean, Konechny had his All-Star game, played well. We could spend 2 minutes talking about that, and that's it. And there's no point because the Metro lost, so who cares?
Do you like the All-Star game or weekend?
There's no meaning to it. Mm-hmm. And even if they tried to put, like, I've seen so many people say, the winner gets home ice advantage, then that defeats the purpose of being competitive during the season because you get an 8 seed from the Eastern Conference playing the 1 seed in the Western Conference, but because an Eastern Conference team won the All-Star game, that 8 seed gets home ice, which I think is just malarkey.
Right. I mean, I think the 3-on-3, they've made it a little more interesting, but I don't even watch it. I mean, I like the skills competition. I think that's fun. It seems to be a relaxing, enjoyable time for them. I think they do some stupid stuff, which is always kind of fun. But the game itself, I'm just like, I'd rather – I don't know. I don't know what I'd rather, to be honest with you.
It's just not competitive, and it's not the hockey that we like to watch.
It's better than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
But, I mean
you're absolutely right. I'd much rather watch the NHL All-Star festivities as opposed to the NFL's All-Star festivities. That's become an absolute joke to this point.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
But
anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, folks, again, really not much in Flyers news to touch on here. We are literally just going to get to the questions that have been brought up. But first, and I don't know if you know this, John, or not, but today is a special day for the Flyers organization.
Oh, yeah?
It is David Kasha's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Mr. Kasha.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Anyways, we're going to get to the question.
Happy birthday.
See, we should have had more structure to this.
You.
See you guys next week.
Let's do it.
All right, first question, folks. We get Flyers Fanscope. Flyers Fanscope asks us, would you rather fight a team of duck-sized horses or a single horse-sized duck?
What kind of duck are we talking here? Like a mallard?
Like we're talking the meanest and roughest type of duck there is.
So, duck-sized horses or one giant... it's a horse-sized duck. I think I'm going to go with the duck-sized horses.
A team of them.
A team of them.
I think it'd be easier to fend those off.
Right, just a lot of kicking.
Yeah. If you've got a weapon, swing it around like a helicopter and just.
Right. I mean, trying to adjust for size with anything, you never really know. Something my wife doesn't have to deal with. But,
I wish you guys could have seen my reaction there. Just eyes rolled back of the head.
I figured this is one of those off the rails episodes, right? We might as well start it off right. Little happy birthday, little penis joke.
Might as well.
And I'm the one drinking tea. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think of this horse-sized duck.
Are we talking like Rob Dyrdek, like mini horse, or are we talking like Clydesdale here? Because if it's a Clydesdale,
going Clydesdale-sized duck.
Even then, it's still probably better than a horse-sized duck. Those things, the wings, the beaks. I mean, hell,
I know, but if it flies, forget it. It's over.
Yeah, no way. No way I'd ever do that. So I'm with you on that one. I like the duck-sized horses.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one. So next one we get to Hogs, our man Hoagland. He asks me, it looks like here, what beer is Bob's go-to for recording? So, and we'll get to you, John, here, because I'm not the only one that typically drinks during the podcast, although you've shown that you haven't been drinking too much. Maybe I'm just an alcoholic. I don't know. But right now, it is Nugget Nectar season. And it is one of my favorite beers. I love Trogue's
Too
Nugget
damn
Nectar.
expensive.
I know, and that's why right now I'm drinking Goose Island, just their traditional IPA, because a 15-pack is about $20. So
Nice.
I'm low budget Bob this week.
Low budget Bob.
Yes.
I like
How about
it.
you?
Well, I mean, I haven't really been drinking too much beer when we record because it's either on a Sunday night or a Monday night, and I have to get up early the next morning. And whenever we used to do these, I'd wake up fuzzy. And I'm an elementary school teacher, so fuzzy ain't good when you're trying to teach. It bodes to be a rough day. So recently I've been drinking either water or tea. But I did go to we have this store called Total Wine. I don't know if you have any of those by you.
No, we don't.
But have I brought this up before? I might have.
I don't know.
This place literally took over a Sports Authority.
Nice.
Okay. And it's in two sections. There's a hard liquor and wine section, and they hand out like free samples. So if you just want to go on like a Saturday afternoon to have a couple free samples, get wrecked, you just need to ride home.
Go home, switch shirts. You're a new person.
The other side is all beer, and it's like they've got their typical, Bud and Coors and all that stuff, but then they have a whole New York craft brew section and then craft beer from all over the place.
Nice.
And then they have like cheese and meat and a cigar humidor, like everything you just need for beer drinking time.
It's like beer heaven.
So I picked up 2 variety packs of breweries I've never tried before. Red Hook Brewery in Seattle, Washington. Mm-hmm. That one's been all right. And then it's a little
kind of
weird.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, but at the same rate, like I've had much worse.
Right. Yeah, there's an Imperial IPA or a double IPA or whatever the hell you call it. It kind of tasted a little skunky, but whatever. And then an Anchor Brewing. I think they're from Maine.
Anchor Brewing.
And I think they're called Anchor Brewing because they have an anchor on the label. I might be wrong though.
Is it Harpoon?
And I mean, no.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Gotcha.
I know what Harpoon is, jackass.
Yeah, well, you don't drink during these podcasts. I feel like a lush.
I'm sorry. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. So, yeah, I drink tea. I'm having tea now. It's a nighttime tea. It helps me sleep.
That's cute. This is why I'm the entertaining one on the podcast, because by the time we get to the end, John's just like, wrap it up. I'm tired. Like, old man go. I have to wake him up. I'm like snapping my fingers, calling him, just to wake him up. But no, I'll tell a quick, just like funny story about the drinking thing. Back, my birthday was January 2nd, and my dad and I went out and we had maybe a little too much to drink. So that night, the next night, I believe, is when we were recording, wasn't it? Or like
I think
nights.
so.
A night or two after, I had too much to drink and too much fun. I come upstairs and I've got my giant, like 32-ounce mug full of water, and I sat it down. And John, we're on Skype, we can see each other. He's like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, dude, if a dog could take a poop, eat it, poop it out again, and then do that about 3 more times, that's about how I feel.
Well, without going into any details on what that night, dude, Derek called me, told me the whole thing. John, crazy outlandish story. Hangs up. Says his sister's calling him. Hangs up. 5 minutes later, I'm not even kidding. 5 minutes later, he calls me back. I'm thinking maybe he wants to continue his story. He's like, John, you're never gonna believe what happened. I'm like, yes, I am gonna believe it, because you just called me and told me, like, oh man, really?
Dude, again, not going to go into too much detail because it was not my finest moment, but That was probably, I'll never forget my 29th birthday. I'll leave it at that.
There you go.
But moving along here, we get
Do
another.
we have any hockey questions?
We might have like one or two sprinkled in here, but it's mostly questions like this next one, again, from Flyers Fanscope. And this one, I'm not kidding you. I damn near crap myself when I read this because I'm like, this is going to be good. If you had to replace half of your body with a giant sausage, would you replace your top half or your bottom half? My initial knee-jerk reaction was, I've already got a giant sausage on my bottom half, so...
Hey,
oh, another penis joke. There we go.
compensating for something.
Yes. Pinky. So what do you think? Top or bottom half?
I mean, do you get arms and stuff too? Like, what's the deal? If I go top half sausage, do I have a head and arms?
I'm assuming so. I mean, you look like one of the guys from Sausage Party, one of the hot dogs.
I don't know. I think I'm going bottom half because, I mean, you never know what the night might bring.
Yeah, it's, people want to take a bite out of you. It's harder to bend down and take a bite than just reach over, So top half, I think
Unless you want it, and then it should be at the bottom half.
You're right.
This is getting weird.
It is, but this is what we signed up for here.
Can we not spend any more time with the sausage thing, though? Because I'm starting to picture myself with part of my body being a sausage, and it's weird.
You're right. So we're going to get to the next one from our buddy Steve here, who writes with us at PSN. Writes with me at PSN. This is going to be interesting. Steve and I get into it all the time because he's a Sharks fan, and when the Sharks beat the Flyers, they trounced them, and we've been at each other for weeks now, and I secretly hate him. Then I found out that he likes wrestling, and I'm like, he's cool in my book. How many more times do I have to reference that win for me, Derek, to actually come and murder me?
Doesn't he live in, like, Switzerland?
He lives over in England somewhere. I think him and Liam are buddies. But it's getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Sharks fans were real.
I didn't either, because I've never really been west of the Mississippi. But then again, there's Penguins fans, so anything's possible.
Right. I mean, I read an article like 5 years ago and said that the Sharks have the worst fans, but they also didn't make it to the Stanley Cup Finals at that point.
That's true.
And like the worst fans is like not like jerks. Like the worst fans is that no one cares.
Like the fair weather, like I don't care,
Right. I always thought that would be either Arizona or like the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, Florida would make tons of sense. I mean, we've seen those photos circulating Twitter with just nobody in the stands.
Yeah. Do we know any Florida Panther fans?
I don't really care to know any because I don't like them.
I mean, I can't imagine any of them are under the age of 65, so
Oh, no.
I'm sure they're nice people.
Oh, sure. I mean, they live in the Sunshine State. They've got to
Did you just fart?
I did not. I sat my hand under my legs because my hands are cold.
To hold the fart.
To hold the fart, yeah.
Yeah, all right, because your hands are cold.
Yeah.
Sure, I've heard that one before.
I might have just sharted. No, kidding.
All right.
Anyways, next question, actual question comes from Steve here. He goes, I'll actually ask a serious question. Well, thank God. What other sports do you guys watch? Mainly because I need more people to talk about certain ones. Which we covered this the other night. We were all watching the Royal Rumble. It was Steve, me, Ricky, another contributor at PSN, and Liam actually was watching it as well. We were all in the Slack chat, annoying the hell out of everyone that doesn't watch the WWE, and it was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun. Edge came back. Everybody freaked out. I was going nuts. I damn near woke my wife up because I was so happy. The room I'm in right now is where I was watching it, and it's right above the bedroom, and she was asleep. And she's like 8 months pregnant now, so she needs her sleep or else she will probably kill me. So I was like, it's like Big Daddy when they get the shootout, and New York gets the shootout against Tampa,
right.
And he jumps up and he's like, yeah, and catches himself, and the kid's still
right.
sleeping on the table. That's how I felt.
Oh. So wrestling would be the answer to your question?
I mean, I watch a lot of sports. Football, baseball. Like I watch them all, except for like basketball. I'm not a big basketball guy.
I like watching. I mean, I coach basketball, so I feel like I should watch it a little bit. I'll throw on a college game if there's really nothing else on. I don't really like the NBA.
Neither do I.
Grew up a huge NBA fan, and then high school, when I started to get into like the intricacies of the game, it just didn't attract me because that wasn't what the NBA was anymore.
Yeah, I fell out of favor with it because growing up when I did play, I was a defensive guy. I liked playing defense because I was quick. I had my eye on the ball. I was never that good at shooting. I was a tall, lanky, 6'1" white kid who somehow learned how to jump. And that was about all I could offer to the team. My defense, I had a wingspan. That's about it,
Right.
Side note, also, the Kobe news. We didn't touch on that if we're going to talk about basketball. That's, God, devastating.
Yeah, devastating. Thoughts go out to his family.
Yes, family, everybody else's family that was involved with that crash as well. Just terrible, terrible, terrible news.
Yep.
But yeah, I think sport-wise, I grew up watching the Sixers every now and then. I was a big Iverson fan.
Right.
And I always, when I did play, everybody always had to have the Iverson shoes, And there was one year that the Kobe shoes came out, like after the Iverson shoes, and this kid on my team had them, and I was like, man, I really wish I had a pair of those. And my dad came home from work and got me a pair, and they looked like a box on your foot. They were terrible looking. And I'm looking back on it, I'm just like, I can't believe I begged my parents for these shoes.
I used to make up who the sneaker I had on belonged to. Like I had those weird I don't even know what they were. They're like zip ties that put the shoes on things, and I would be like, yeah, they're Gary Payton's. I didn't Google what people's shoes looked like back then. So it'd be like Gary Payton's. I'm like, yeah, why not Supersonics?
Do you remember Fila's?
Yeah,
I had a pair of Grant Hill brand Fila's. Those was my first pair of basketball sneakers.
Do you have Payless by you?
Yes, we do.
The Shaquille O'Neal's?
The Shaqs. I remember looking at that logo thinking, what the hell is that? Then I'm like, oh, it's him dunking. It doesn't even look like he's got a head. He's just hanging there with his arms over his head and the hoop there. Oh, I think I might have had a pair of those back in the day too.
Sports for me, right? I like most of them. Baseball is weird. I'm a Met fan, and I mean, same with you. You're being an Oriole fan.
Yeah, they're just as bad as the Oilers, really.
But I'm one of those I'll watch the first few games, then I probably won't pay attention to it for most of the season. And then I get into it if they're competitive, which they're typically not around September.
Yep.
But it's just too long of a season, man.
162 games, it's tough. I mean, it's even my wife complains that the hockey season's 82 games, but I'm like, it could be worse. I could be much more avid of a baseball fan and force you to watch, Mid-Atlantic Sports Network with all the O's games. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, baseball. I mean, it is what it is. I like horse racing, though. That's the odd one.
That's when I visited New York with you. We'd spend all day betting ponies.
So summertime, where I am with Belmont Racetrack. I mean, that's kind of the fun summer sport for me.
Yeah,
going to the track, and I'm not a big gambler. The most I'll ever bet on a horse is $10, but I think it's a lot of fun to hang out with the other degenerates.
Oh yeah.
So
they're the most fun.
Yeah, but I'll watch anything. I have that sports package where I have it for the NHL network. But you get some obscure stuff on there. I spent 45 minutes watching competitive arm wrestling once. My wife came in, she's like, what in the hell is this? I've seen professional towing, where they're trying to drag the weights and stuff with the dirt.
It's weird. Jeez. Tractor pulls. Too much.
Yeah, tractor pulls. We should probably move on from this question though, because we'll be here. This is a 2-hour episode talking about nothing.
Let's move on to Flyers Fanscope's last question that he asks us here, or she. Not 100% sure here. Who would you cast to play John Scott when they make his All-Star movie, and Sean William Scott is unavailable? And that sucks because that would have been my choice. Because the movie Goon, that's the guy right there. That's a tough one,
Danny DeVito.
You go from a guy who's 6'6" to a guy who's 4'6".
Right.
I mean,
Danny DeVito or Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
Neeson.
I'd go Gerard Butler.
Okay.
He's like a scruffy looking dude. I feel like he could be tough, and he could play that role. I just don't know if he knows how to skate or not, but...
Oh, you don't need to. You get a stunt double.
Yeah, and John Scott barely knew how to skate, so, it works out.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Well, you were being serious about your answer. I mean, I don't really think Danny DeVito should play.
I think Vern Troyer would be a great...
Right.
Mini-me.
I think Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker playing John Scott.
That would be something. That would be something to behold.
Right. And if none of them are available, Hilary Swank.
Yeah, she'll play any role. She's great. So, moving on.
Is she? I don't know.
I
just like saying her name.
You ever watch that episode of The Office where they debate whether she's hot or she's just, I forget, it's like good looking or like sexy or something like that?
I never really watched The Office.
Oh, man, you're missing it. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
But that was like that had the entire office divided. Like half people were like, she's so hot, and the other were like, she's pretty,
Sidebar, which I can't believe we need to sidebar on this kind of episode, but you know what I just watched that has absolutely nothing to do with The Office?
What?
The 30 for 30 on Dennis Rodman.
You watched that?
I did.
Whew. I haven't seen it yet.
Dude, whoa.
I can imagine.
I mean, but like, we were kids when he was popular, so we just saw this basketball player with purple hair wearing wedding dresses. Like, the complexity behind this guy, I was blown away. I mean, it was long. It was an hour and 42 minutes. It's kind of long for a documentary.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. But I recommend it. It was pretty good. It was deep.
I'd have to take a look at that because I remember watching the 30 for 30 with Ric Flair, and
that was a good one too.
Yeah, it really opens your eyes because everybody's like, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, woo, everybody's excited, and then you watch it and you're like, this guy's kind of a shitbag, Like, I mean, it sucked because how many people look up to guys like that, and then you see him just didn't care about his wives. I mean, how many wives did he have?
I know.
And then now, like, you see it with his daughter, and she's in the WWE right now, and she's one of their, like, prime-time players right there. And it's you see Ric Flair every now and then when something big happens. She wins a title, a milestone in her career. But you're like, man, dude, like, that guy did nothing for those kids when they were this big,
Is he? I'm sorry to say this because I probably should know, but is he still alive?
Oh, yeah, he's still alive.
Because I think I've gotten news that he's been dead like 4 or 5 times.
He probably should be dead the way he's lived his life. But Nature Boy's still kicking, man.
Wow. Good for him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, hey. Right. But if we're going to progress along with these, we have one from Nick Hankins, and he told us we can call him Nick. It's not Nicholas anymore. So we're on a shortened name basis with him, which is great.
Nice. Taking it to the next level in our relationship.
Yes, I love it. For fun, is a grilled cheese an American quesadilla or vice versa? So that's the first question of this tweet.
Okay.
So when you think about it, and you want to break it down to its simplest forms,
right?
You have bread.
Yep.
In Spanish Spanish-speaking countries, you could say Mexico, all that.
Right, it's not Spain, it's like Hispanic.
Yeah. Hispanic, that's the word I'm looking for.
I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think quesadilla is a Mexican dish.
I believe you're right, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we just say in Mexico.
And tortilla, you have tortillas.
Yep.
That's essentially Mexican bread. So when you think about it in its simplest terms, they're interchangeable. That, a grilled cheese is an American quesadilla, and a quesadilla is a Mexican grilled cheese.
On today's episode of Dumb White Dudes Do Ethnic Cuisine.
Right? I mean, this just... Imagine someone tuning in and listening just to that. They're like, what a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah, I mean, yep.
Now,
yep, it's a grilled cheese.
The thing is, too, though, when you think about it, quesadillas, like, I mean, you could do it with grilled cheese, but it's not like the traditional, grilled cheese.
Right. You wouldn't put American cheese on it.
Yeah, you want cheddar cheese. You want the Mexican blend that you can get in the craft bags at the store. You can do shredded chicken and stuff like that. You can put in your quesadillas. Can you dip a quesadilla in tomato soup?
Can you dip a grilled cheese in sour cream?
That's a good question. Why didn't someone ask us these questions?
I know.
See?
Is it okay to dip a grilled cheese in salsa?
I wouldn't see why not. Now the bread would be a little weird. Like it'd be much better, obviously.
Be better than the sour cream thing, and I don't like sour cream. Period. Yeah. But
see, I like sour cream, like on my quesadilla. Dude. But if I had a choice, like if I could only have sour cream or salsa with my quesadilla, it's salsa. 100%
How many people do you think have turned this episode off? At least half.
If 90 people are listening, 89 have turned it off already. And to the one guy who hasn't turned it off, thank you.
Right.
But next question from the same tweet. Also, can you use traditional quesadilla toppings on a grilled cheese and it not be weird? Which we've kind of covered, traditional quesadilla toppings, salsa, sour cream. You could argue jalapenos. Yes, I feel like jalapenos in a grilled cheese would be good.
Yeah, I mean chicken. You could throw some chicken as long as it's already cooked in your grilled cheese.
I used to do pulled pork. No joke. Pulled pork on a grilled cheese. It's delicious.
Or steak.
Yes, steak grilled cheese.
It might be a little rough, but do we have a hockey question? I want to talk about something that has to do with hockey.
We do. Nick actually has the next question here that we're going to get to some hockey, and he first asks, what new event will they come up with next year for the All-Star Game? And I just have this sneaking suspicion that you've thought of something that I'm just going to listen to and hear and roll my eyes a dozen times.
Okay.
He's rolling up his sleeves. You can't see it, but he's rolling up his sleeves. So this is getting serious.
You might know where this is coming from.
Probably.
But you have every team has a duo. You have a taller, stronger fellow from your team, and you have a smaller fellow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, the taller fellow puts a blindfold on, gets the smaller fellow on his shoulders. The smaller fellow has his mouth duct taped so he can't talk, and so you got a guy who could see, a guy who can't see but can talk, but a guy who can see and can't talk. And they have to race the rest of the teams down the ice.
Jesus.
While weaving baskets, both of them.
How in the hell is something like this supposed to work? Like, I was with you until the weaving baskets part.
Why is that? Oh, that?
Like, imagine, let's take, for example here. You've got Zdeno Chara, and Brad Marchand is on his shoulders. Marchand's got his mouth duct taped shut and rightfully slow, probably so he doesn't lick anybody. And Chara has a blindfold on.
Sure.
So, if you're just guiding him to the other end of the ice, that's easy. In retrospect, when you think about it, you tap him on the right shoulder to lean a little bit to the right, tap him on the left to go a little bit to the right.
If you're weaving a basket, you can't tap them.
You're right. And that's what makes it tough. I couldn't.
That's what makes it complete chaos.
I don't like it.
Should both of them be weaving baskets? How about this? You have to finish weaving your basket and still be standing. Like the last team standing with the woven basket.
Okay. See,
that's the winner, not a race.
I don't like it. My big thing is I think they should do bowling. Just,
bowling?
Yeah, you start at the goal, like the crease on the other end of the ice. You skate towards center ice and at the red line, you curl yourself up in the fetal position. And in between the crease and the red line, you position yourself so that when you do put yourself in the fetal position, you can't control where you're going. You just hope that you hit all the pins in the other crease at the other end of the ice.
I've got a better idea.
Okay.
And I think it would actually be kind of funny, but they could say, hey, it's real skating. Figure skating routines.
Oh, that'd be golden.
Wouldn't it? Could you imagine?
That'd be hilarious.
Right, and then you could get a bunch of older hockey players as judges. Get 5 of them. One of them has to be Kachuk because he'll be drunk, and they're the ones judging. Brett Hull.
Brett Hull would be hilarious as a judge.
Brett Hull. That's what I mean.
Get a load of this.
Go close. All right.
All right, next question
one.
from Nick. He asks, which player would be most likely to wear the gritty suit? My sneaking suspicion is one of the players is actually the one that punched that kid in the back. So that's another story for another time. Jesus. Most likely to wear the
Kevin
gritty
Hayes.
suit. Hayes? Oh, for sure.
Yep.
We saw it.
Yep.
He tweeted it out. You know, he's the guy. He
Right.
was the guy that punched the kid. You know,
Yep.
court fees are on him. Dude's just got the personality for it. He's freaking hilarious. Next player to be moved on to or off of the roster to Lehigh Valley. So, from what I'm gathering, Nick asks the next guy up from Lehigh Valley, it seems like.
The next guy.
The next guy that the Flyers bring up. We can do
Okay.
vice versa, too, after this if you want.
Man, I have such a hard time keeping track.
I know it's tough.
Like, who's even on the team anymore?
I mean, you've got your usual suspects with, you know, Frost is down there. Friedman went
Yep.
back down. You've got TJ Brennan on the blue line as well. You have Alex Lyon, who's back down there. Before the All-Star break, they sent Rupstav and Bunneman back down. Kasha's back down there. Andrioff, Curtis Gabriel. Just thinking of some of the guys that they can recall. You know, you've got the guys on just AHL deals like Cal O'Reilly and Greg Carey. But
So I think that if we take out the injury side of things, if we just say like next man up based off of getting an opportunity or getting another opportunity, I think the logical answer would be Morgan Frost. Because I think that when he proves he's ready, he'll get another shot. I mean, everybody else I view is more of like a stopgap for an injury.
yeah, and I think you have to almost view the next call-up situation as a stopgap because I feel like it's going to be one of those, you know, a middle six guy gets hurt and they have a guy on the third line that they can bump up, and then maybe somebody on the fourth line they could bump up to the third, but then call somebody up. It'll be an Andrioff or somebody like that in my mind. I think Aube Kubel's here to stay. I think that I'd be interested to see if they do recall Bunneman. He's fast, he's quick. You know, he gives a bit of a spark to that fourth line, but I just don't know if he's up to it yet, you know. And Rubtsov, you said it a million times before, he's not meant for a fourth line role, so why waste him there? I think Andrioff's the guy you call up at this point for a role like that.
Right. You know what I would like to see, and this has nothing to do with the Flyers, it's got to do with the Phantoms and the Royals. I'd like to see Matt Strome go back up to Lehigh Valley. I mean, he's not having a great year in Reading. He's not lighting the lamp or anything, but I do think that he could do what he's doing in Lehigh Valley. And, I mean, you know, my thought, the AHL is to develop prospects, and I just think it would be better for him to train and get experience with a higher level of competition.
I'm with you. I used almost the same argument with how Sandstrom's doing down there, where, you know, you've got a guy used to seeing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs, and he's seeing 60-mile-an-hour changeups now. So is he really just that bad, or he's just not used to the level of play being far below what he's accustomed to?
Right.
Yeah. Now, we have a question here from Offside Hockey Talk. Offside Hockey Talk is the official podcast of LeafsHub.com covering the Maple Leafs. They ask, who finishes with more points come the end of the season, the Maple Leafs or the Flyers? And this is good. I like this.
Yeah, I mean, because currently the Flyers have 60 points and the Leafs have 59, and they've both played 50 games.
You're right.
I know. I'm reading it from the app.
Oh, look at you finally doing your research.
I mean, are you sure?
I hate to be like the Debbie Downer. I really think the Leafs are just too good to
Me too.
finish
I
below
agree
the Flyers in the points. You know, that's just the case.
They're just a better team. I mean, and I think that they're going to get better at the deadline. I think they're going to go out and get a defenseman.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and I mean, who knows? Maybe the Flyers are the right trade partner for them. Maybe they want a guy like Gostisbehere. I don't know.
Yeah, probably
You know,
not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Probably not. That was foolish.
Would be nice though if we could get a decent piece back, like a Kapanen or something. But who knows?
Yeah, right.
We'll see. Hey, I will never say never.
All right.
Anyways, next
Never
question
say never.
we get from Ben Molesky. Ben, former contest winner, came on the podcast a couple months ago. Had some fun with that. Given Coots' midseason Pro Hockey Writers Association Selke nod, do you think he makes it at the end of the season? John.
So I read something today on The Athletic from Charlie O'Connor.
I believe I read the same one.
He said that most of the time, whoever the PWHA,
PHWA.
did I get that? Yeah, that. Whoever they vote mid-season, more oftentimes than not, ends up winning.
I think it's like 6 out of 10 is what the what he stated in the article, I believe, or 60-something percent.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to go with the odds and say, yeah, this is the year.
If he keeps up this type of play, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't win this. I mean, this could finally be the year where, I mean, how long have Flyers fans been clamoring for this? I've been a huge proponent of it. You as well. We've talked about it multiple times. Jeez, give it to him. The guy deserves it.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think...
You skipped one, by the way.
I know. Well, I'm trying to go in chronological order because the one we'll get to here in a second came after Ben's. I feel like Ben's actually came before a lot of these. I don't understand why it's at the top of the list.
Because he answered it off of my tweet, and then I had to go and put it on our bookmarks from them, and I just did that.
I thought I had already put that on there. Okay, maybe you just reordered it because I already had it on there because I know I had it on there.
Maybe. Sure you did. Okay.
Just let me handle this.
All right. I'm just trying to help.
We actually have one more question coming from Flyers Fanscope. We'll get to it after this one, but which Flyer will have the greatest impact on their playoff bid? Positive and or negative? This one comes from J. Powell. He also adds, I'd answer with heart, and it would be a positive response, but you're the podcaster, so I'll hang up and listen.
So I think that's a really good answer. Typically when you think of goalies in playoffs, right, if you ride a hot goaltender, you can go far. I won't go with that answer because he did that. Mm-hmm. But can I give a positive and a negative?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Let's do it.
All right, so positive. I think I'm going to go Couturier.
Okay.
He's going to be the elite guy in the playoffs, offensively, defensively, and be the leader. Negative, Gostisbehere.
I should have seen this coming.
They're going to put him in and be like, it's all right. This is going to he's a good player, and then he's going to screw the pooch and cost us a game.
Oh, if he does. Ugh.
Yep.
Whew. I'm positive I'm going to go Kevin Hayes. I think that I touched on it with one of my previous articles here in the last week about overachieving. I said that Hayes is the biggest overachiever in terms of everything that he brings to the table. Not just, his stats are, they're nothing crazy, they're decent. But the fact that, you saw it. How much time did he kill off the PK against the Penguins that night? Just stick handling, moving in and out of defenders. And then just the attitude that he brings to that locker room, just being, having fun, keeping everybody loose. I think that's invaluable when it's finite. You can't put a number to it. So
definitely.
That's the positive. The negative, I'm going to say Claude Giroux. I think that if he continues the way he's going and he's not going to make an impact if we get to the playoffs, that right there, that's your captain. That's the guy you draw inspiration from. That's the guy that should be getting your team hyped up and ready to roll for these games. And if he's not doing that and he's not producing, that's a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's crazy how much I don't think about Claude Giroux.
I know.
These days. It's kind of concerning in a way where it's like, obviously I know he's on the team, but I started thinking about players that we're going to talk about or the performance that they've had, and he just never comes up.
Yeah, sometimes that's not a bad thing where it's just like, okay, he's doing his job, but usually we like to talk about the fact that he's doing a good job, and he's just not, like you said.
Right.
Yeah. Now we roll on to our last question of the night, and it comes again from Flyers Fanscope. He asks 5 minutes ago, if you described yourself by your 3 favorite things to look at, how would you judge yourself? This is getting way too philosophical. So, your 3 favorite things to look at.
Okay.
John, what are they? Keep in mind, our listeners here. Because I know my 3 favorite things to look at, and I know 2 of them are the same thing.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, 3 things that I like to look at.
Yes.
Okay. And then how they define who I am.
How would you judge yourself based off of those 3 things? Okay. Your 3 favorite things to look at.
Are they like...
Just
are we talking about like content things or just anything?
Like if you described yourself by your 3 favorite things to look at. So out of everything in this world, your 3 favorite things to look at.
Okay. So 1 would have to be my daughter.
Okay.
2 would have to be my wife.
I was going to say, you know the right answer to that.
I know. But I want to do something that's like not. And then 3 is like outdoor sceneries, like the woods or like the lake or like
foliage,
the mountains, like that kind of stuff.
Landscapes. You could call it that. Or,
Yeah, but not like city landscape, like wide open kind of nature. I mean, and I think it defines me because... Well, my family has been not my whole family, but my daughter and my wife are everything to me. And I don't necessarily love being around a ton of people. And I like being out in nature and kind of the peace that it provides, and you're not dealing with a lot of noise, so I think it's therapeutic.
You're right.
So I'm a family guy in desperate need of therapy.
This is why John and I get along so well, because I hate people as well. But this is one of those things where like you could have some fun with it and be funny, but like if you're going to be serious, and if I'm going to be serious, right now at least currently, my favorite thing to look at is the baby bump that my wife has, and it's just. Like, I spoke to you, I've spoken to, like, my dad, and he's told me, he's like, it's just, there's something about it that you look at it.
Did you touch it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, dude.
I was freaked out.
Oh, I
couldn't do it.
I could feel him and everything. That is, honestly, and without getting too, like, sentimental or anything, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever experienced. The first time I felt my son move in my wife's belly, I was like, oh, my God. Like, it's in there. He's in there.
Yeah.
But that tops everything. That's my favorite thing to look at right now. My second favorite thing to look at would be, and this is tough because again,
there's like certain answers that like you're supposed to say and you mean it, but like they're not interesting.
Yeah, like I'd almost count like my wife's belly bump as like just my wife as a whole, So I'll kind of lump that all into one. It's the top thing, my favorite thing to look at. My second favorite thing, I'd probably have to say my 2 nieces. My sister had twins back in 2018, December of 2018, and they are just out of this world. I love those girls to death. I'd give them the moon in a heartbeat, and just when they started walking and not talking yet, they're saying little things here and there. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
But just the smiles on their faces, it melts me. I just melt. Third favorite thing to look at is probably just my family in general. I've grown up and been very blessed to have, you know, a great mom and dad, a great, you know, my sisters, as much as my sisters and I used to beat the living hell out of each other growing up. Like, they're my best friends at this point, and we can laugh about it now, but back then they would have probably told you that they hated me, which rightfully so. But it's just one of those things, you know, when I'm looking at my favorite things in the world and I can tell you what they are, like, I'm judging myself on being you know, somebody who's very just family oriented and feeling very happy and lucky to have what I've got at this point.
Right.
And again, that probably got way too serious and went down a serious road. But
is that? I mean, I don't know. If he wanted us to be funny, we really disappointed him there.
Yeah, if we're gonna be funny, I'll give you my three.
I wanted to
things
say
to look
boobies.
at, right?
I wanted to say boobies so
thing
bad.
Number one, thing number two, left one, right one. And my third favorite thing is probably the butt.
I like watching those like silly redneck videos. Like, people do dumb stuff with like their their pickup trucks, or they like their four-wheelers. They try to turn their picnic table into a ramp or whatever. I got a real kick out of that stuff.
You ever seen the video of the dude with like the dune buggy looking thing just ramping over a house, and it's just the Dukes of Hazzard, like.
Right. I
know, it's
love
not
that stuff. Like, if I'm in a bad mood or have to take a really long poop, like, I'm watching those silly redneck videos.
Oh, it's the greatest.
Time.
You know what
right.
I have been watching a ton of, and
What?
this is my last point. When Edge was like the surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, I'm not kidding you. I get goosebumps.
You're so...
I know. I'm a dork.
I
you
go
knew
from
this.
sitting on the toilet watching redneck videos. You got to bring up Edge again. You've mentioned Edge like 5 times.
This is the second time.
What is he, like
first off.
60?
No, he's 46. I think he said last night in his promo.
There should be a cutoff for wrestling.
Shut your mouth.
There should be.
I'm changing my password now, so you can't watch all those old episodes you like to watch.
I gotta ask you for it again anyway, because I deleted the text message on accident.
Well, look, we've gotten to the end of the questions from you guys. We're not going to waste any more of your time, even though, what is it? We're at 47 minutes. We've already wasted 47 minutes of your life. But, John,
if you actually enjoyed this, thank you for sticking around. We really just wanted to have an episode this week. But we also understand if you turn this off, because it was pretty silly.
Yeah, this is just us some comedic relief during some time where there's no hockey. But, John, tell everybody where they can find us here.
You can find us at PodSTBullies on Twitter. You can find all of our podcasts on the various podcast receptacles.
Receptacles? What the hell?
Yeah, like
Apps?
iTunes and Spotify and Podbean and Podflicker and Podsnatcher and I don't know. Are we on Hulu?
Podflicker is the newest one that I just... God, why? Oh my God, we need to go, folks. We need to go.
Where else you can find us, because I've got to stop talking.
John's going to stop talking. You can also find the Pod Street Prospects, Pod ST Prospects. It's our newest show where we talk nothing but prospects. But folks, find us on Twitter, Pod Street Bob, Pod Street Gove. We are the Pod Street Bullies. And until next week, as always, I'm still laughing because John's losing his marbles over there. Let's go Flyers.
Bye now.